understand how something works. They've had a different goal, and so if you had a department of cognitive arts that was not part of science, it would really be I'm not sure what the cognitive perspective would add to the goal of the arts when it comes to not trying to understand how.
That's a really interesting point. Momentarily, that actually, if you take some of the perceptions or understandings into improvisational context.
Excuse me, I need to know, you're going to need a microphone, and I'm going to make this a last comment. I'm afraid this is my unhappy job as a moderator, but a last comment.
Oh no, it's just a very simple point. It was just that if we take some, I mean, as an artist, I find the discoveries and explorations, transformations and so on incredibly exciting in terms of what one might create artistically as a consequence. It can transform the nature of output from perhaps where these things have traditionally, by traditionally I mean in the last 50 years, come from within the artistic community, for example. I mean, the risk has been that artists have become more specialized. There are ways forward out of some of the work you're doing creatively, which I think could influence artistic output creatively as well, so that the outcome is a different model, if you like, a different paradigm ultimately. What's the point of the question would change with this, possibly. I don't know, it's just a thought, just being silly, really.
I think it's appropriate to end this with not an answer, but a question. And I want to also thank everybody for thoughtful questions, provocative questions, and our panelists for being willing and able to handle them in such an interesting way. And with that, we need to turn things over to Tara, if I understand correctly, for the next and last phase of this wonderful conference. So let's thank our panelists, indeed. And thank you.
Honored guests, speakers, and of course the wonderful participants. These last 2 days have been such a whirlwind of fabulous talks, discussions, and performances, and I have to say this is a wonderful culmination to a year and a half's worth of effort. So how do we, the Student Organizing Committee, even begin to acknowledge the myriad of people who've thrilled us with their speeches, guided us, panicked with us, and rejoiced with us in every victory throughout this fruitful year? First, we'd like to start by thanking Professor Peter Salloway, then Provost and now President of Yale, who is one of the first people to see the potential of this conference and who readily accepted to be a speaker at the inaugural session. Unfortunately, he couldn't come, but he made sure someone extraordinarily exciting, Professor Scholl, took his place. And we owe a great deal to all of our overseas professors visiting from the U.S. Professors Charles Lim, Steve Lisberger, Brian Scholl, and Elizabeth Stalsky. Not only have they traveled all the way here during their New Year's holidays, I don't think they've completely gotten over their jet lag. Some people have only flown in for these 2 days. However, I'm sure you'll all agree with me that their erudite and engaging talks will remain with us for a very long time. So we're extremely appreciative of our eminent speakers from the premier institutions within Singapore who have helped us discover the wealth of knowledge and expertise that exists right here at home. Professor Lansky deserves a special mention for his unflagging support of the young artists from the Young-Soo Conservatory and the Forte Camerata. We are deeply obliged to our guests of honors over the last 2 days, Mr. Heng Swee Keat, Minister of Education, and Mr. T.C.A. Raghavan, the Indian High Commissioner, who took time out of their very busy schedules to be with us for these 2 days. We are also highly indebted to our institutional sponsors, Yale NUS, Duke NUS, Young-Soo, the Assistant Provost and Deputy President's Office, NUS Department of Physiology, the Life Sciences Research Institute, Gusto, and the Ministry of Education. We would like to mention the wonderful support offered by ACSI, AJC, NUS High, and NUS, and of course the U-Town facilities deserve a big thank you. We were, of course, also extremely lucky to have faculty advisors and mentors led by Professor Dale Pervez, who guided us every step of the way. So here's a big, big thank you to Professor Dale Pervez, Professor Kaliang Lim, Professor Bernard Tan, and Professor Lonce Wyse, and our mentors, Professors Lee Pei-Ming and Professor Stephen Miller. A special note of thanks to Mr. Raymond of Heartware, our outreach partners, Ms. Celine Su of ACSI, and Ms. Allison Rosals of Yale NUS for their guidance in all logistics matters. The media has played a strong role in getting our message across Singapore, for which we are so very grateful. For example, the Straits Times, Channel News Asia, among others. But of course, none of this would have been possible without the student organizing committee sitting right there, partly there. I, for one, have had the privilege of organizing this event with a group of exceptional students ranging from high schoolers to graduate schoolers. And over this entire year, meetings became an integral part of our lives. Monthly meetings gave way to weekly meetings, gave way to daily meetings as the conference gathered momentum. And without their motivation and hard work, none of this would have been possible. So please join me in giving them a huge round of applause. I love you guys. May I please now request Professor Bernard Tan to give out the certificates as a token of our appreciation to the Student Organizing Committee. Anthea Chua. Rifkana Fatima. Samantha Neo. Yun Han Seer. Shini Tan. Shu Tan. Jibin Wang. And Clara Zhang, who unfortunately isn't here with us today. She is down with chicken pox, so can we all send a big get well card to her? And of course, none of this would have been possible without our lovely volunteers. I think we would have died these last 2 days with the amount of logistic stuff to deal with, so thank you so much. And of course, thank you, the lovely audience members, for once again, you've made this event such a memorable day and a half. And while we've come to the end of this fascinating event, this is hopefully only the beginning of what we can do in cognitive science. And I hope that we can make CogSci Connects a permanent feature for Singapore to enjoy in the years to come. So thank you so much for being here. There's tea upstairs.